Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to have you here on the Rebel Roundtable this morning. Happy Friday. All kinds of fun I get to have. And I'm really excited that Carrie's here because Carrie, there's people that you meet and you run across in professional spaces. And there's people that you meet and you're like, okay, I need to talk to that person more. I need their kind of vibe. And I'm talking about vibe coding a little bit, but just vibe in my life. And Carrie is one of those. And she's the founder of Career Frame. I will get
There
that
it
right.
is.
Yeah. And she's an executive coaching firm, which lawyers and us professional people are always like really cagey about
Mm,
coaching and things like that. And is this actually worth it? And so when I find really good ones, it's so fun to like pick your brain and figure out what's going on.
yeah.
So thanks for being here, Carrie.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. I love being a rebel, at least for the next hour,
Yeah.
or however long we're here.
However long, usually 20 to 25 minutes because squirrel brain attention spans these days. But
Totally, that's even better.
go ahead and like just introduce yourself, kind of how you got to what you're doing and what you do now, just briefly.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, thanks for talking with me this morning. And essentially, I launched this business a decade ago from a place of passion. I loved leadership so much when I was in corporate for over 20 years, and you start to work with and for a lot of leaders and you realize they really don't, they're not doing it right, let's just
Right.
say. They could be doing better. So I thought I could help. And I went out on this journey again a decade ago to support leaders from an executive coaching and advising perspective to help them really be mindful of the ripple effect that they create at work. So many leaders think the problem's not them. It couldn't be them. It's everybody else, right, Jen? Like it's not. It's my team. It's not me. And so I've just worked with leaders with some phenomenal brands over the years to help them really shift the environment. And essentially, it boils down to I help them see what they cannot see, so
Mhm.
they can influence the outcome before they become costly problems. It is very costly to an organization when your high performers leave. And if they're leaving, it's likely because of you, or because they got another opportunity somewhere that just seemed better. Why
Yeah.
is it better? Why is that opportunity better than the one that you're presenting? So I just love to bring a little bit of tough love to the conversation when I'm working with executives to just help them really see what's going on underneath the surface.
This is such an interesting area for me because being in lawyers and law firms and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, there's very much cultures that have developed over the last 100 years or whatever. And I'm seeing a lot of firms are having problems retaining staff or having problems
Mm,
with productivity or efficiency and things like that. And they all go back to the employee and
of
not
course.
management.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about leadership, the ripple effect of leadership, what does that actually like? What is the actual problem? What's the root
Yeah.
there?
So in that specific example is
Mhm.
when it's the employee's problem or the employee is the problem. And a lot of times leaders are putting people in positions that serve the leader, not the person in the position. So I'm a Gallup Clifton Strengths certified coach. And anytime I work with someone, the first thing I have them do is take the assessment. So I understand what personality are we working with here from an energetic level.
Mhm.
So I talk a lot about energy from a strategic perspective. It's not woo-woo, it is a strategic tool.
Really important.
It's really important. A lot of people talk about time and money, time and money. I don't care how much time you have. I don't care how much money you have. If you don't have the energy to do anything with that time or money,
Yep.
what are you doing? It becomes counterproductive. So a lot
Mhm.
of times leaders will put someone in a role, or the person interviewing for the role will tell the leader everything they think the leader wants to hear, but they're also not being true to themselves of what lights me up, what energizes me, what's going to get the most out of me, and therefore I'm going to be the most productive. So oftentimes, like Gallup, they have where they got this number is fascinating to me because it is a staggering number. They say that there's about $8.9 trillion lost in productivity every year globally because of engagement or
Yep.
lack of. Only
Yep.
23% of workforces are usually engaged. Oh, and that's actually up from 13%, but it's still only
Wow.
23%. And so when you look at that, that's a vast majority of your organization that is not engaged. And again, that all comes down to, are they set up for success to do what energizes them, what they're good at, what they're having fun with, so they'll do more of it. if over time any of us humans keep doing something that we stay frustrated, burned out, we're not feeling
Yeah.
productive or fulfilled, we're going to leave. And the leader has the ability to pause, stop, especially when you're talking about attorneys that are, heads down, focus, get it done, drive the business, get the deal, win the case, whatever.
Hmm.
When you pause and just go, hold on a second, am I getting the most out of my people? And am I getting the most out of my people according to them, not according to me? And it changes the conversation, which changes the dynamic, which changes the environment, which changes the bottom line.
So it's so interesting because I'm a full believer in this, and a lot of the stuff that I love and think we should do, I don't do as well myself. Sometimes it's hard to see it from the outside, like when you're doing something.
Oh, yeah.
But a
That's why
lot
I
of
help
the
people see what they can't see, Jen.
exactly, that's why it's so important. Even if you do like believe in this and know having the professionals to help you, like blind spots, spotting those
I'm
blind
the
spots
blind
are really
spot
important.
revealer. Yes,
Yes, that's
yes,
fantastic.
yes.
One of the things that I'm hearing a lot from that I hear because I talk to a lot of lawyers, a lot of law firms about like culture and things like that. And the culture
Mm-hmm.
is changing in some places and not as much in other firms. And it doesn't seem like the leaders or maybe the owners or managing partners of firms sometimes realize the impact that they're having, like this wave that
Yeah.
they're having on their staff. Can you talk a little bit like what's coming from the top, how that trickles down into an organization?
Well, oftentimes when someone has a certain personality, it comes across, and I say this with all respect, it's ego.
Yes.
Okay, so it's ego.
Yeah.
And it is, I know what works, I know best. I've got the proof of how this has worked. This is what we've always done. Let's keep doing
Mm-hmm.
it. And when you do get someone that is outside and objective, coming in and asking questions, listening, watching, observing, and then coming back with the blind spots and going, how would you think or feel if this changed to that? Like, and so it's putting the perspective in front of them when all of us are in our own business, we're too close to see it. I
Yeah.
have a coach to help me see what I can't see, right? And so this is a typical thing when you've got again, people who have some ego, don't think that they need the support because they've got it all figured out, they've got all the answers, and they may have some of the answers. If they're a
Mm-hmm.
successful law firm, they're obviously doing something really right. And it's not about coming in and going, this is everything you're doing wrong. It's coming in and saying, so these things are all great, and how would you think or feel if this was dialed up to this? Like, would you
Yeah.
want more of this? Because here's how you can tap in and get more of this, but you're going to have to kind of get out of your own way a little bit in these areas. So it also takes, let's just say, a level of, gosh, I'm just going to say it, Jen, maturity to
Yes.
to see, to hear and see the blind spot revealed,
Yeah.
and then the courage to do something with it. Really.
I will say that it's really hard, I think, for some of them to hear, like
Mhm.
when a third party comes in,
Sure.
and I think it's really hard too for them to hear like the things that, again, I think it's a lot of the ego that they have problems with. There was an interesting article. I'm totally going sidetrack here because it sparked something.
Yeah,
There
let's do
was an
it.
article in the New York Times a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and it was Adam Grant, who had written this,
Yeah.
and it was about the return to office. And they did this study on the firms or the companies that are requiring this return to office. It
Mm-hmm.
was the ego of the owner or the management team wanting people around them constantly to
Mm-hmm.
uh, micromanage and things like that. So it was very interesting how they did this analysis to show that return to office wasn't really about the business and the productivity. It was about the person in charge and their narcissism and ego type
Well, I so
experiences.
so I
So what do you
do.
think about that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I do believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say, this is just again my opinion.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I
Of
would
course.
say that it is the narcissistic ego. I think sometimes, and I see this with clients of mine, there is something in an owner, a founder, a CEO, a president's brain that says, butts in seats that I can see
Yep.
validates this,
Hmm.
whatever this is. Butts in seats that I can see means work's being done. And that's an attitude. is what that is. That's a belief system. That's an attitude. And that's okay as long as the business understands that and agrees with that.
Right.
Because that's where I think a lot of senior leaders get in their own way. Again, you have a high performer who's kicking ass, taking names, and comes into the office twice a week. Why would you
Yep.
jeopardize losing that person by forcing them to come into the office just so your eyes can see it and it checks your box? So
Exactly.
that's kind of what I mean when I talk about the ego. First of
Mhm.
all, every single one of us has one. It rears its ugly head all the time. It's about being able to see it and acknowledge it when it does.
Yeah.
And that's what, so self-awareness. It's having self-awareness of like, okay, so that's my ego talking right now. How productive is this going to be versus complete lack of self-awareness and just showing up and being you because it serves you. So the
Yep.
best leaders are going to be serving their people. And I don't mean servant leadership by
Right.
definition. I just mean, how can I help you succeed for the business? Because I think a lot of people at the top sometimes forget all these people, they really are choosing to come to work for you every day.
Mhm.
Imagine the team you would have when they cannot wait to get to the office to work for you
Yep.
versus dreading it and quietly quitting, right? And
Yep.
so it's just helping leaders see this and just again, it's when I work with someone, I'm like, listen, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm hearing. I'm going to put it out on the table and let's talk through it.
Mhm.
And you can push back, you can debate, like please do, because I want us to work through this and I want to help you see what you're not seeing so you can look at it differently and we can shift the dynamic that gets you the desired outcome that you want. But
Yeah.
it's working with those people to make sure they get to that level.
And I think that's probably the hardest part that I've encountered is
Mhm.
just getting again, the way things have always been done, law has always been kind of a hazing industry where
Sure.
it's like uh,
Yeah.
you figure it out, you get thrown into things, you get yelled at and screamed at. And I think what especially
Yeah.
younger generations are showing us, because some of this is generational too. I think a
Oh,
lot
of
of this
course. That's
is
where my
generational.
brain was going. There's a big part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to adapt to like, oh, if people like working here, they like coming to their job and doing things, they're more productive. But that's like, I want them to be tough and I want them to, like, it's
Well,
this
again,
weird dichotomy.
but like what you just said, I
Yeah.
want them to be
Yeah.
dot dot dot.
Yeah.
And that's where the ego comes in. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not all about you, senior partner.
Yep.
It's about the business and making sure that the business is thriving. So there's a little bit that's you, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's a part that's the person who you're leading and who you're hazing and who you're getting to do the work. So
Yep.
it's all of that. But I'm sure that there is a generational
Some of
el
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
element to
Yeah.
it. And it's yeah, there's all
And
kinds of fun stuff.
change is hard. I mean, change is for
It
all
is.
people. It's hard. We all
It
handle it.
is.
So it's hard to adapt to that new thing. What do you see like employees noticing about leaders long before the leaders notice it about themselves? Is there anything that's like stands out that employees will notice about a leader?
I have seen so when from my perspective, our firm, let's just call it, since we're talking to a lot of lawyers too, our boutique coaching firm, um, we predominantly focus on leaders. So if we see the leaders employee, which we do see
Hmm.
them, it's usually in a group setting. We're doing a workshop, we're doing a presentation of something like a team talk or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Over the years, in working with groups, I have collected data and information. And I would say that some of the things that pop up are communication's a big one. All the
Okay.
stuff's in my leader's head, and they're getting upset that I'm not meeting their expectations, but I don't know what the expectations are, or they're not clear, or they're not trickling the information downhill. So that's a
Mhm.
big one. It's also they expect us to execute on all this stuff, but they're not an executor, so they don't understand all that goes into executing. It's more of just get it done,
Mhm.
right? So then there's not a mutual understanding of what execution looks like. So
Mhm.
that's a big theme that I have heard from the bottom up.
Yep.
Um, Alignment's a big one. I don't think my leader is aligned with the other leaders. So now we don't have cohesiveness from
Mhm.
the senior team coming across the organization. Therefore, we're now working in silos. Collaboration is harder.
Yeah.
Again, back to communication. We don't have effective communication. Oh, by the way, I don't really know these people, so I don't trust. Trust is another one, both directions. And here's what I like to remind people. Conflict is
Mm.
actually necessary on a high performing team. You will not have, and the difference is productive or
Right.
destructive, right? So you're not going to have, let's say constructive or destructive. You're not going to have constructive, productive conflict without trust.
Mhm.
And so the only way that you get to trust is getting to know each other. So then that's another thing. Like my leader didn't even know me, or I don't even know my leader. And so
Yeah.
it all kind of goes together.
It
Lack of
does.
trust,
Yeah.
not communicating well, we're not having productive conflict, we're not aligned. I don't know what my expectations are because I'm not in their head. It's all of these usual juicy topics.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Do you find that, well, I guess suppose the leaders that you coach are probably open to hearing that they need to listen to the front line. I run across firms where
Yeah,
the
some
leaders are
are.
not open to
Yes,
listening to the feedback.
some are because in some cases a leader's getting coaching and they don't really want it. They don't think they need it. It
Yes.
goes, right? I don't need this. I've got all the answers. We're not,
Yeah.
and I'm just over there just kind of gently going, which is why you need it,
Right.
because you don't think you do.
Right.
And that's the thing. It just as a side note, if you look around the world, the highest performing leaders have a coach or advisor.
Yep.
The highest performing leaders have a coach or advisor. And so that's got to tell you something. The
Hmm.
underperformers are not having, they don't have the coach or the advisor, which could argue why they're an underperformer.
Right.
So, it's so yes, I have certainly worked with people that they feel like they're just checking a box.
Hmm.
And I don't coach those people for long because I'm
Right.
like, I'm not going to show up for you if you're not going to show up for you. I'm not giving my energy to this if you're not going to if you're only going to bring negative energy
Yep.
to the table. So,
So what makes someone coachable? Like what do you look for in
yeah.
someone who's coachable?
Yeah, I look for someone who shows up, consistently shows up. And when they show up, they have something to talk about, even if it's just one thing. They don't just show up and go, "All right, so what are we doing today?" Because then I have to go, "Oh, I don't know. You tell me. This is your journey."
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the passenger seat on this journey. So you're
Mhm.
driving. So I look for intentional topics of conversation. I mean, I would say half the people I work with, they want a sounding board. They call it work therapy. I'm
Yep.
like, it's totally work therapy.
Yep.
And again, that's another very intelligent thing to do, to have an objective leader, advisor that you can talk to just go, am I crazy? Am I the asshole in the room? Like what's happening?
It's
And
true though.
it's I love those people. I'm just like
Yeah.
so smart because it helps them. So show up, be intentional about the conversation, be proactive about the conversation.
Mhm.
And then also like asking questions and asking for the advice while also allowing so I call myself a coach and advisor because I ask
Right.
questions and I advise.
Yeah.
And then it's also allowing me to ask you questions and you answer them honestly. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Like, I cannot support
Don't blow
you if
smoke
I
up my
don't,
ass. Yeah.
yeah, I can't support you if I don't know exactly what's going on. And it's always a zero judgment zone. It's a confidential zone. It's like, be you, do you, so I can get in here and
Yeah.
help you, like help you. So it's really at a basic foundation, those things.
Yeah.
Show up, be intentional, ask questions, and be honest when you're asked questions as a place to start.
Is there leadership advice out there that you think we need to retire? I feel like there's so much change in this space that's taken place over the last 40 years or so. Is there a
Yeah.
leadership?
Leadership advice that I think should be retired.
Yeah. Like, is there something that you're like, that doesn't hold up in today's system or society?
I don't know if this is exactly
Yeah, that's fine.
leadership advice, but it's what popped in my mind.
Yeah.
So I will share.
Yeah.
Um,
Great.
yeah. Um, there is a typical model, a typical feedback model
Okay.
of start, stop, continue. Are you familiar with this?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I would love to retire that.
Okay.
Do you know why I would want to retire that? Can you think about why I might want to retire that? Start, stop, start, continue.
I think it's some of the flex. To me, it's not efficient. It doesn't keep the flexibility in the process, but
Yeah.
I'm not a leadership coach. So.
Yeah. You're like, no, Carrie, back to you. So the reason why I would like to retire that one is because I would like to replace it with something else, which is
Okay.
similar but a different structure.
Okay.
I would love to retire, start, stop, continue, and I would love to replace it with keep, stop, start.
Okay.
Now, anyone that's worked with me knows about keep, stop, start
Okay.
because I have introduced this concept to him now to them. Now, why do I want to replace this? Because we humans remember the last thing we heard.
Yeah.
So if I'm a leader and I'm wanting to give you some feedback and I say start doing this, stop doing this, but continue doing this, I'm just going to keep doing what you told me to continue doing. I'm not going to
Mhm.
remember what you told me to start doing, what you told me to stop doing. When we move it to the keep, stop, start, we start on a positive, like, hey, you are nailing it in these areas. This is great. Like, please do more of that because it's awesome. It's working. Don't change a thing. What I would like for you to stop doing are these things over here because I feel like they're kind of getting in your way.
Mhm.
They're impacting the team, they're impacting your performance, blah, blah, blah. So I would like for you to start doing XYZ. So now we're ending on development and growth.
Right.
And that's the last thing the person's going to remember. So and then it becomes a conversation. So now it's like, okay, now I'm actually kind of excited. So you want me to start doing this thing over here, and
Yeah.
especially if that plays to my strengths, and now I'm energized about it. When can I get started? Go now. Awesome. Now we're like in a different, we're in a totally different mindset than just continue doing what you've been doing. To me, that just
Yeah.
falls flat. So that's what I would retire and replace.
I like that. Well, also because when I talk about like flex, I think the ability to change and be excited about something in the future, and to me, the start, stop, continue breaks that momentum. I
Yeah,
guess is
just
the
it
way to
just
look
keeps
at it.
you
Is
where
like,
you
yeah,
are. Just
yeah,
keeps you where you are. Whereas
yeah.
again, when you end on start doing this, it's growth, it's development. There's power there. So again, anyone that's worked with our team and with
Mhm.
me over the last 10 years, literally, they've heard this model, they know this model.
Yeah.
But I also think that this is so ingrained in especially so many HR departments when it comes to performance review time and stuff. It's so
Hmm.
ingrained. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we please move on from this? It
Yeah.
just doesn't initiate growth, in my
Right.
opinion. So
Yeah. Performance reviews are a whole other story. I like focusing like on the future, like, okay, what are we going to do the next year? What do you want to accomplish? Like, and not focusing so much on like
yeah,
tearing someone apart on all the things. So
yeah,
anyway, that's just my personal opinion because I've been in corporate for way too
because
long.
you're a rebel esquire. That's why.
I'm a rebel, yes. So, is there any like just to kind of wrap up because I have a lot more questions, but I also have a squirrel brain too.
Yeah,
Um, is there any like one uncomfortable truth that executives need to hear?
I think that it's kind of what we've already talked about, and
Yeah.
that is your ego is showing way more than you think it is.
Mhm.
Um, I also would really like to see a balance with leaders of command, command the situation, make decisions while also gathering input.
Okay.
I don't want to see a leader ignoring everybody and making all the decisions. I
Mhm.
also don't want to see a leader doing leadership and decision making by committee.
Right.
I'd like to see more balance of that in leaders because that again just shifts the dynamics with people and with organizations. And so I think that if we can watch our egos, they're not scalable, they're not sustainable. Be honest with ourselves. Get an advisor and coach that can be that sounding board that can tough love, hold the mirror up and go, here it is. You're okay. What are we going to do about it? I think that we would have a lot more happier employees in
The
organizations.
employees are productive employees. Just a reminder
Happy
over
employees are productive employees.
there.
That's right.
Better for the bottom line. Okay, so where can people find you, Carrie?
Yeah, go to careerframe.com and you'll see everything that we do. Contact us through the website. We'd love to have a conversation with you about how we can help you see what you cannot see so you can influence the outcomes before they become costly problems. I am on Instagram. I kind of just do everything under my personal,
Yeah.
my personal. So CD Fabris, follow me. You'll see everything about my family, about what I like, about business, all the things there. And then of course I'm on LinkedIn. And I post on LinkedIn a couple times a week. I have a blog. I put quotes and nuggets, testimonials, all of the things out there for people to just get a sense of us and a sense of me and the things that we work on. So those are probably the three best places to find me.
Cool. Well, that's part of leadership too, is being authentic and letting people see the real you and not
Yes.
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 Okay.
That's a great way to end right there. Be authentically you.
So on the Rebel Roundtable, we do have a Spotify playlist of all of our Rebel Roundtable anthems. Is there a particular song that you like to blast when you're trying to rebel against society or
The
get pumped
one,
up?
yeah, it's kind of both. It is I Want It All by Queen.
Okay.
That one, the way the song starts and how Freddie in the group just, I want it all.
Yes.
And I
I
do.
want it
I want
now.
it all. I don't care what you say.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
I Want It All by Queen.
I will get that added to our list. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate your time and your energy talking
Thanks for
about
having me.
vibes.
This was fun.
Yeah. And so thanks to everyone watching and who watches the recording, and tune in next